no one kind of avoided seeing the publicity around the scandal that is the Post Office Horizon debacle, which has dominated, quite rightly, our screens in recent days and weeks. This is a miscarriage of justice of epic proportions, and it's absolutely right that the government is now urgently making sure that the victims are properly compensated and properly exonerated. This has been going on since the 1990s, and frankly, virtually nobody comes out of this well. It's right now our Post Office Minister, Kevin Hollinrake, who actually was campaigning on this issue before he became the Minister for Post Offices, is acting urgently to try and address this wrong. The government set up an inquiry which is doing some important work, but there are three priorities in the meantime which the Prime Minister addressed in the last few days. Firstly, we need to make sure there's compensation gets through to the victims of the Post Office scandal. Now, so far, those who were wrongly convicted and have had their cases overturned have received upfront payments of £600,000. We need to make sure there are going to be upfront payments to many, many more people who've been affected. Those who were convicted, those who weren't convicted but had to pay out of their own pockets to cover up the shortfalls which weren't of their fault, and those others who gave up the whole Post Office careers because of what happened. So the compensation scheme is being accelerated and the upfront payments are being made. Secondly, and really importantly, we need to clear the names of those 900 people who are convicted because of the fault of the Horizon Post Office system. Those who have had their convictions overturned in the courts, which has been going on for the last couple of years since the major court cases in 2019 and 2021, have received compensation up front, but there are many, many more still to come. That could take years, so that is why the Prime Minister announced this week that uniquely we are going to have primary legislation which effectively will say those people are innocent, overturns all those convictions, and their names will be cleared. Now that is no small measure, because that means effectively Parliament interfering in the justice system, which is something that we try not to do. But this is a miscarriage of such epic proportions, it's going to need primary legislation to do that. So those postmasters and postmistresses affected will be asked to sign a disclaimer saying we're innocent of this, because there will be some people who actually may have committed some misdemeanour, and it may be necessary to come back and look at their cases to make sure that some guilty people are not getting off along with the vast majority of innocent people. And then the third measure is to make sure the inquiry, which is doing its important work, will come up with properly apportioning blame to see how it went wrong and what punishments need to be meted out. Paula Venables, who run the Post Office, has already given back her CBE. There's now question marks over bonuses to pretty highly paid executives, and there's serious question marks about the role of Fujitsu, who are responsible for the software that caused all these problems as well. And if we need to go after those companies to get the compensation so it's not the taxpayer having to fork out, those things need to be done. As I said, this is a real scandal. It's been going on for too long. I'm relieved that the government have taken the bull by the horns. These urgent measures are coming through now. I'm also relieved that I'm not aware, they certainly haven't approached us, of any of the postmasters and postmistresses affected in my constituency. Maybe that's because we've lost so many sub-post office branches as well, which is a point I raised in Parliament with the Minister earlier in the week. This is a justice which the government is absolutely committed urgently to addressing, and we need to find out how it happened in the first place, and it should never happen again.